Cans, Can Openers, and Conspiracy. A critical examination of historical narratives and psychological operations. Authored by King Snuffy the Great, August 26, 2024. Abstract. This paper explores the historical development of cans and can openers, investigating the potential for their creation and delayed pairing to be part of a larger psychological operation. Through a critical examination of historical events, industrial practices, and personal experimentation, this study raises questions about the underlying motives behind these everyday objects. The findings suggest that the delay in providing a practical means of opening cans may have been a deliberate strategy to exert control over the population, contributing to food insecurity and psychological manipulation. The implications of these findings are discussed in the context of historical power dynamics and modern-day implications. Cans, Can Openers, Conspiracy. Introduction. The preservation of food has been a central concern for humanity throughout history. Microbial activity in food not only diminishes its shelf life, but also poses significant health risks, including illness and death. In response, humans have developed various techniques to extend the longevity of food, such as freezing, salting, and pickling. Smith & Jones, 2017. However, these methods were perceived as inadequate, leading to the invention of the can, a seemingly simple yet transformative innovation. This paper critically examines the history of cans and can openers, considering the possibility that their development may have been influenced by motives beyond mere practicality. Historical background: the genesis of food preservation. Food preservation techniques have evolved over millennia, driven by the need to prevent spoilage and extend the availability of food. Early methods, such as drying, salting, and smoking, were effective but limited in their ability to preserve food over long periods, particularly during military campaigns or in regions with harsh climates. Kurlansky, 2002. The search for more reliable preservation methods culminated in the early 19th century, spurred by the demands of warfare and colonial expansion. Cans, Can Openers, Conspiracy. Napoleon's challenge and the invention of appetization. The Napoleonic Wars marked a turning point in the history of food preservation. In 1795, the French government, under the leadership of Napoleon Bonaparte, offered a reward of $12,000 francs to anyone who could devise a reliable method for preserving food for the French army. Appert, 1809. Nicolas Appert, a confectioner from Paris, rose to the challenge and developed a method that would later be known as appetization. This process involved sealing food in glass jars and heating them in boiling water to kill harmful bacteria, effectively extending the shelf life of perishable items. Appert, 1810. The birth of the tin can. The success of appetization led to further innovations in food preservation. In 1810, Peter Durand, an Englishman, patented the first tin-plated iron can. Durand, 1810. This new method of food preservation offered several advantages over glass jars, including greater durability and ease of transport. However, the use of lead solder to seal the cans introduced significant health risks, as lead poisoning became a common issue among those who consumed canned foods. Brown, 2005. Despite these drawbacks, the tin can quickly became the standard for long-term food storage, particularly for military and naval use. Cans, Can Openers, Conspiracy. The delay in the invention of the can opener. The problem of accessibility. One of the most perplexing aspects of the history of cans is the significant delay between their invention and the development of a practical means of opening them. The first cans were made of thick metal and required considerable effort to open, often necessitating the use of a hammer and chisel or other makeshift tools, Smith, 2000. This difficulty in accessing the food within the cans raises questions about the motivations behind the design and distribution of canned goods, the introduction of the can opener. The first can opener was not patented until 1855, a full 45 years after the invention of the can, Waterbury, 1855. The initial design was cumbersome and difficult to use, and it was not until 1870 that the first lever-type can opener was introduced, making the process of opening cans more manageable. Lyman, 1870. The long delay in the development of a functional can opener has led to speculation about the potential motives behind this oversight. Was it simply a matter of technological limitations, or was there a more insidious reason for withholding an accessible means of opening canned food? Cans, can openers, conspiracy, psychological and social implications, the concept of deliberate inaccessibility. The delay in the invention of the can opener can be interpreted through the lens of deliberate inaccessibility, a concept in which access to essential resources is intentionally restricted to create dependency and exert control over a population. Foucault, 1975. By making it difficult to access the food stored in cans, the producers of canned goods, and by extension, those in positions of power, may have been able to maintain a form of psychological control over the population. The role of food security in social control. Food security is a fundamental aspect of social stability. When access to food is restricted, whether through scarcity or deliberate inaccessibility, it can lead to widespread anxiety and social unrest. Sen, 1981. The introduction of cans without an accompanying means of opening them could be seen as a way to exacerbate food insecurity, particularly among lower-income populations who may not have had the tools or knowledge necessary to open the cans. This strategy could have been used to manipulate public behavior, encouraging compliance with government directives in exchange for access to food. The psychological burden of canned food. In addition to the physical challenges of opening cans, there may have been psychological effects associated with the widespread use of canned food. The presence of canned goods in the home, combined with the difficulty of accessing the food within, could have contributed to a sense of helplessness and dependence. This psychological burden may have been cans, can openers, conspiracy. Compounded by the knowledge of the potential health risks associated with lead contamination in early canned goods. Brown, 2005. Personal experimentation and findings, methodology. To explore the potential psychological effects of canned food, the author conducted a personal experiment in which all canned goods were removed from their home. The experiment was designed to assess the impact of living without canned food on overall well-being, with a focus on sleep quality and perceived stress levels. Results. The results of the experiment were unexpectedly profound. Following the removal of canned goods, the author reported significant improvements in sleep quality and a reduction in perceived stress. These findings suggest that the absence of canned food and the psychological burden it may represent had a tangible impact on well-being. The appearance of surveillance. However, this action did not go unnoticed. The author observed the presence of individuals monitoring their home following the removal of canned goods. This observation raises further questions about the potential for cans and can openers to be part of a broader surveillance and control mechanism. The presence of these individuals, who appeared to be cans, can openers, conspiracy. Monitoring the author's activities suggests that the simple act of rejecting canned food may have broader implications than previously thought. Discussion. Reevaluating the history of canned food. The findings of this study suggest that the history of canned food and can openers may need to be reevaluated in light of the potential for psychological and social manipulation. The delay in the invention of the can opener, combined with the health risks associated with early canned goods, raises questions about the true intentions behind these everyday objects. While the historical narrative often presents canned food as a practical solution to the problem of food preservation, this study suggests that there may have been more insidious motives at play. Implications for modern-day practices. The implications of this study extend beyond the historical context of canned food. In modern times, the concept of deliberate inaccessibility can be seen in various forms, from digital rights management, DRM, in software, to the planned obsolescence of consumer electronics, Linden, 2016. The findings of this study highlight the importance of critically examining the design and distribution of everyday objects, particularly those that have the potential to impact public health and social stability. Cans, can openers, conspiracy, limitations and future research. While this study provides a compelling case for the potential psychological and social implications of canned food and can openers, it is limited by its reliance on historical analysis and personal experimentation. Future research could explore these issues in greater depth, using quantitative methods to assess the psychological impact of living with or without canned food. Additionally, further investigation into the potential surveillance mechanisms associated with canned goods could provide valuable insights into the broader implications of this study. Conclusion. The history of cans and can openers is more complex than it may initially appear. The significant delay in the invention of the can opener, coupled with the use of hazardous materials and exploitative labor practices in the production of early cans, suggests that these everyday objects may serve purposes beyond their apparent utility. This study raises important questions about the potential for psychological and social manipulation through the design and distribution of everyday objects, highlighting the need for continued vigilance and critical examination of the narratives we accept. Cans, can openers, conspiracy, references, Appert, N. 1809. The art of preserving all kinds of animal and vegetable substances for several years. Appert, N. 1810. A new method of preserving food. Brown, M. 2005. The Toxicity of Lead, A Historical Perspective. Journal of Environmental Health, 67-9, 22-29. Durand, P. 1810. Patent, Num. 3372, Preservation of Food in Tin Cans. Foucault, M. 1975. Discipline and Punish, The Birth of the Prison. Pantheon Books. Kurlansky, M. 2002. Salt, A World History. Walker and Company. Linden, G. 2016. Planned Obsolescence, The Rise of Consumer Electronics, Technology and Society, 38-4, 49-58. Lyman, W. 1870. Patent, Num 102-876, Improvement in Can Openers. Sen, A. 1981. Poverty and Famines, An Essay on Entitlement and Deprivation, Clarendon Press. Smith, A. and Jones, B. 2017. Techniques in Food Preservation, A Historical Overview, Food Science Journal, 45-3, 1530. Smith, J. 2000. The Can Opener, A History. Technology and Culture, 41-3, 679-688. Waterbury, R. 1855. Patent number 13764, Can Opening Apparatus.